Okay, and hello and welcome to this lecture video covering your data cleansing case that you're doing in Microsoft Excel. And this file, along with any support I'll probably put up the starter spreadsheet, will be right here up on Canvas, okay, where it says data cleansing BBC price of football case, all right? So this is the document, and then like I said, I'll put up a starter file too, although you don't really need the starter file because you can just, I would rather you try the copy paste like I show you right over here rather than using the starter file, but if you can't get it to work, then you can use the starter file, okay? So anyways, the case talks about how to clean data, so it says you will often encounter messy data situations in the workplace. You may need to download data from a website or from another system, and then use a whole bunch of different functions to convert the data into usable form. This case requires you to clean and analyze data from the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, price of football, soccer, of course everybody else calls soccer football in the rest of the world, survey. So your case learning objectives: understand how to use various functions, mid, search, etc. These functions were covered in some of those lecture videos that I posted up on data cleansing, up on Canvas. Understand how to use those functions in Excel to clean data. Understand how to use index match to retrieve data, and then understand how to calculate a break-even in a pricing context, okay? So if we look over here, it says, in terms of your case steps, it says please complete this case in your groups, and then you navigate to this website. So I'm just going to copy and paste this website right over here, okay? Copy it, come over here, paste it right there, and there we go. There's the price of football, okay? So now what we can do, here's the data, all right? So what I do is I just come over here, and what this shows you, let me just back up. So you have the Premier League in English soccer, and here's all the teams in the Premier League, okay? And then it says the price of the cheapest season ticket. You can see this is in pounds, and some of them have an asterisk. This is the dearest means most expensive, so priciest season ticket. Cheapest single ticket. This is season ticket. This is single ticket. Most expensive single ticket. Price of a program. They love their meat pies over there. Price of a cup of tea. And then cheapest adult away. Dearest adult away. So that these are home. Okay, these are home tickets, and this is what we'll focus on. And we'll be focusing our analysis here. The price of an adult shirt, a jersey, and then the price of a junior jersey for kids, okay? So what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'm going to copy paste all this data. So I'm scrolling down to here and I'm just holding the Shift key, copy, come over here and paste, okay? Now you can see it doesn't come through very smoothly. You can look over here if I go sum. See, it's not in usable form, okay? It is not in usable form. So your task is going to be to convert all this data using the appropriate functions that I talked about in those lecture videos into usable data. So basically you're going to do some functions that remove this pound symbol, remove the asterisks, and then convert it to a number. And then of course you have to come over here and you have to clean this up a little bit where you can see it didn't quite come over like that. Some of the column widths have to be extended over there, and some of the, you just have to clean up the row heights and all that kind of stuff, all right? So let me come back over here. So that's the first part, copy and paste in there. Again, if you can't get it to copy and paste like I did, you can use the starter file, but to really go ahead and follow the whole case, I'd rather you try to copy and paste it from the website. All I did was just come over here, highlight all that data, Control C, and then Control V right there, okay? So here's what I was saying earlier, try to add or subtract. You see I tried the sum function and it wouldn't work, okay? And you can see right over here, and that's because it's got the pound symbol. It's coming in as text. How do I know it's text? Well, it's left align, okay? And so the other thing is you're going to copy the data to a new sheet, just like I did right over there, and you can correct the row and heights. And then what I say over here, notice that the data are not in usable form. Your task is to use the appropriate data cleansing tools and techniques that I discussed in those lecture videos, such as mid, left, right, search, find. Now, there's not one way to do this. I mean, there are multiple, I'm sure there are multiple ways to use those combinations of functions. But the functions that I talked about in that lecture video, in those lecture videos, you can use a combination of those functions to solve this problem. So what you can't do, or what I'm looking for is, can you use one combination of functions? So you're going to have to use a combination of functions to strip this of the pound symbol, and then the asterisk if it's there. See, you can see some of them don't have asterisks. But basically use one function to clean the data for everything that you could copy paste down. One function that would work for every single data point that you have in here. And you will have to use a combination of those functions that I talked about in that lecture video of mid, find, if error, length. You could use left, right, substitute, replace. I don't actually in my solution. The ones I use in my solution, mid, find, if error, length, and I think that's what I use, and also probably also use trim. You could also try the replace function. Like I said, you're going to have to use a combination of these functions though to get it right. Okay, so I'm leaving that up to you to see if you can't think through the appropriate combination of functions that I cover in those lecture videos to put in one function that you could put in one function here, for example, that you could copy down and across, and that would clean all of these data elements. Okay, so what I don't want you to do is do one function for this one and then a different function for this one, then a different function for this one. And what you also can't do is manually come in here like this. Okay, because while there's not that many data elements here, the whole point is to consider what if you had 1,000 rows. So I just kind of kept it small to keep it manageable for you. But in the real world, you have to consider you could have copied 1,000 rows. Okay, so and so this is what your data should look like after you clean the data. So you can see what I did is when I set up this is my solution, here's my raw data. Okay, so that's I'll close out of this one. That's where I just copied it down. But here's my raw data that I copied down. And then what you'll do is this, you'll set up another spreadsheet later on called formatted, and then this is where it has the actual formulas. Okay, and so if you look over here, and I'm not going to show you the formula because I'd be giving the answer away. Look how I have it right over here. So I have a formula, one formula that I did that removes the pound symbol and then the asterisk if there is an asterisk. I was able to copy it across and copy it down. Okay, and then what I did is I made a copy of this spreadsheet. So I came over here and I just went, let me see, move or copy, sorry. And then I just made a copy with the formulas like this. And then I came over here and I just selected everything. And I'll show you exactly what I did. As I came down like this, I went Control C, and then I went Paste Special, and then I went to Values. And then what will happen is you'll have all these little, and now I have the value, and now what you can do is say Convert to Number. And then you can just scroll all the way down here to convert all these to numerical values. All right, so if I just go Convert Number, then they all go. Okay, so that step that I just kind of went over right over here, so is right over here where I said use Edit Paste Special, make a backup, create a new sheet called Formatted, and then make a copy of the with formulas after you've already done the formulas to solve that, and then do an Edit Paste, copy paste, but do an Edit Paste Special Values to get rid of the formulas. Now you can try using the sum function to make sure, okay, it works, and it will work. And then what you can do is on that same spreadsheet, or you can do it over on a different spreadsheet. I did it under Formatted. You're going to answer a few questions, okay? And so here's the answers to the questions, but I'm not going to show you the formula because that's what I'm trying to get you to do, is to make sure you can do the appropriate formula to solve this. So the questions I have is which team has the most expensive program, okay? So what you want to look over here, and I don't even have that here, but you could do a formula right over here to show me who has the most expensive formula, which team. Okay, now that's going to involve a combination of functions, right? Because you're going to first have to use a function to determine which one's the highest, and then use another function to look up the team associated with that highest, just like we did in the lecture video. Okay, how many teams are in the Premier League? Okay, so you can come over here and you can see I have a function right there where it says, where you can see the 20. I have a function that calculates that. You need to use the appropriate formula. If a fan purchased the most expensive, called the dearest season ticket, how many games would he or she need to see to make it worthwhile? Same thing over here. How many games would they need to see? So what you need to think about is in terms of a break even. That's what I have right over here. Number of times to pay for dearest, number of times to pay for cheapest, and that's where I calculated it. Okay? So I said, well, how many times, if I only bought the most expensive season ticket every single time, how many times would I have to go in order to break even with the most expensive season ticket? So how many times would I have to buy the most expensive single ticket to then equal the cost of the dearest or most expensive season ticket? So basically, if I were to go 19 home matches and always go and buy the most expensive single ticket right over here, I should buy the most expensive season ticket, because look, if I go more than 19 times, I should buy the season ticket. Same thing, if I only go 17 times, then I should not buy the season ticket. I should just go buy single tickets. Okay? So it's kind of a break-even analysis, and that's what I'm asking you for right over here. Then I say, okay, so you have to do the number of times to pay for the dearest, number of times to pay for the cheapest. You calculate the difference, okay, which is just subtracting the two, and then you're going to do a formula over here to say which one is the cheapest, more expensive. Does it require more times to go? Yes or no? Okay, so you want to think about using the appropriate formula there to figure out which one's higher. So you can see this says yes. Why does this say yes? Because this right over here is more than that. 34.27 for Arsenal is more than 18.52 for Arsenal. So you have to go more times for the cheapest than for the dearest. Okay? All right? And then I hear it say over here, if you were Arsenal or any sports team, which one would you want to incentivize fans to buy? The most expensive season ticket or the cheapest season ticket? And then how would that look in terms of your pricing? Would you then say, I'm going to minimize this or minimize this? Which one would you want to minimize? And so that's where I say you can answer this question in a separate spreadsheet, a separate worksheet. Type worksheet. Okay, no spreadsheets. Okay. So that's the way it should look. And then some of those other things, let's see, calculate. I think we just kind of talked about that. You know, which one's the better bargain. And then this part G is also referring to this one. Okay. Then I say use an appropriate formula to determine the following. Which team has the highest number of times to break even? So you can just do a function to calculate the highest here, and then you would have to do the appropriate function, see how it says Tottenham right there, to then retrieve Tottenham from over here. Same thing over here. Which one's the highest? Use the appropriate function to retrieve Liverpool. Which one's the best? Which one's the optimal right over here? 7.32. Use the appropriate function to retrieve Man City, and then the number of times where cheapest is more expensive, that's what I'd say. I called it more expensive. It just means more times to go. Okay, and you can see the number is 11. So you can use this to check your answers, right? But what I'm looking for is to make sure that you have the appropriate formulas. You can't just come in here and type in Tottenham and expect to get credit. You have to give me the appropriate formulas, okay? And so that kind of covers the whole case. And so the last figure there, and like I said, I will post this case and then the starter file, the raw data, right here under data cleansing up on Canvas. And then we can finally see down here that this case is due to me on the 13th at 5 p.m. via email. Thanks so much. If you have any questions, let me know.